Hello, you're back with Beatle, back on Archero 2 as we go into Chapter 10, Ice and Snowland. Just to give you an overview of my character and level, so 27.4 thousand battle power. I have got every single bit of equipment now to Epic. 4 pieces are Epic +2, and 2 of them are just Epic +1, but really making some good progress on the equipment side of things. We have managed to get quite a bit of gold, so let's do a bit of drawing as we do usually in our videos, and let's see what we get here. So collision damage reduction, not too bad. Every little bit obviously increases your total battle power by a little bit, so every little does help. Crit damage +4%, only 23. That's a bit of a letdown. See what super dodge increases us by. 39. It's better, but it's not good. I mean, some of them actually increased by like hundreds, so hopefully we can get at least one of those before we go into chapter 10. 63. It is increasing until it goes down. We'll leave it, but there we go. Refinement has go to level 3, so Gears stats increased by 4%, so it's actually increased again, 70. Can we get one more than 70? Super strength, that goes to level 2, amazing. Attack power +52, 115. I think this one's going to be difficult to beat. This has got to be lower than 115. Titan, moving to level 3, wow. Max HP, attack power plus crit 106, so there we go, slightly less than the other one, but nearly now 28,000 battle power. Really interested to know what battle power you are, what chapter you're on, just to sort of see how I'm doing. But yeah, let's jump into Ice and Snowland. So I think this is a timed survival. I think it's survive for 6 minutes. There we go. I think I prefer this mode as opposed to the chapter floors where he's got to get to 50. Let's take the venom here. Projectiles can poison enemies, similar to the blaze. It just adds a bit of extra damage at the start. Some scrolls there, not too bad. But yeah, this game mode doesn't quite take as long as trying to finish the 50 floors, so I think I do prefer it just to make quicker progress, really. At some point as well, I'll have to do a blade damage comparison. I think that's probably one of the few sort of builds I haven't quite done yet, just as I think it's quite similar to the meaty build in that it probably isn't too powerful, but I will have to see. I suppose I'll have to do that comparison just to make sure. I think my favorite build is the circle build, getting all the orbs around you. Second best probably Sprite, but yeah, really interested to hear what you actually prefer in terms of what build you like to go for here. Attack power is quite an interesting one there, but let's get the laser sprite. I think laser sprite is probably one of the more powerful ones as well, as it fires itself from a little bullet as well as that laser beam that you can see. And there's the Valkyrie just off screen here, so I'll make a move there, get the Valkyrie, see what blessing she wants to give us. A front arrow +1 is always quite good. I think the arrows as well, once you've got some of the projectiles up and maybe even some of the attack power, your own arrows can do really well in terms of the damage dealt. So we'll obviously do the damage comparison at the end just to see what does the most. And we do have a big wave there, but thankfully a bit of an angel gives us some move speed just to make sure we can move and survive as best we can. I've lost quite a bit of health. I don't know, I actually can't even remember being hit, but thankfully we actually have our sprite that adds a bit of HP from the start of the game. Bounce arrow, pursuit strike, and reposit strike. So the strikes are ones that I would like to do, but I know I have some runes that I can equip to make those more effective, so I won't do that in this video. But let's go for the bounce. I think with the arrows that I've got, that'd be quite an interesting one to try and get as well. Yeah, wow, my arrows, as you can see, are just doing so much damage when they're running at you like this. I think if I had to place a bet, I'd say that my arrows are probably going to do the most damage. Obviously, it just depends what other upgrades and weapons that I get during the round as well. Let's see what the Valkyrie wants to give us here. A legendary. Can we get the legendary sprite? We can't, but multi-shot again. So I'll get that. This will obviously increase the amount of arrows that I fire. So I'm already firing 2, and then sort of doubled that as well. So 4 arrows come from every single shot that I do. So really strong, as well as the poison effect. Not even having to move here, but I think the big wave of monsters incoming will probably make me move. We'll see how we can do it. It's just quite a targeted attack, so when there's a lot of enemies there, it's actually quite tricky to try and kill them all. Here, let's just get the lucky band-aid here. I'm not 100% sure what luck does. I presume it just means you've got a higher chance of getting better rarity from the Valkyries and level ups, but I'm not actually too sure. Here, let's just get the max HP up. 10,000 health is a pretty decent amount. I'm not really in any danger of dying, thankfully. But yeah, I think where the orbs come in really handy, and where I can see is where I'm sort of lacking, is the area damage. That's what I could really do with, because when there's a lot of enemies on the screen, the sprites and even my own arrows just attack maybe 1 or 2 of the enemies, whereas the orbs have infinite pierce, so that's where they come in really handy. I think super venom also going to be quite interesting with our venom build, I suppose, that we've got going on. So let's see what we can do with the venom build. I know similar to blaze, venom obviously does damage over time once the enemies are hit. As of now, it's only my main attack that is dealing the venom damage, so maybe that needs to be a bit better here. Power Trio, I think, is probably one of my favourite upgrades. To me, it's probably one of the best because everything just seems to increase. And I think that'll probably go in our favour of the arrows doing the most damage at the end, especially considering we haven't even managed to find a single orb or circle. So halfway boss, here he is. He's a very angry crab or lobster, going down pretty quickly. I think this is where all of our 4 arrows that come from our main attack do the damage. I think that obviously does a lot of damage for single enemies. Level up, new skill. What are we getting here? So we can now finally get a beam circle, and it's a really good one actually. Tracking eye would actually be really helpful to have projectiles tracking enemies, considering that would help my main weapon. But let's get the beam circle. I think it's quite a nice mix to have good main attack as well as at least some circles, and we have a sprite as well. See what the roulette wants to give us. Can we get I think just a bit of experience there. That happened quite quickly, but it wasn't actually too helpful. What would be interesting is actually if the laser orbs going around us did the most damage, even though we obviously got them 3 minutes in. So if they do, then that's obviously a good indication that they are by far the best weapon to try and get, or the build that you should be aiming for. New skill, short range strike, piercing arrow, or demon slay. Let's get the piercing arrow. I think that, as I was saying earlier, that is where I am struggling, especially with my main attack, not having any pierce. But obviously now you can see those arrows fly through the sort of big groups, at least gets the poison onto them as well, so hopefully clearing them out a bit quicker, as I am trying to move down to this angel, hopefully to get us attack speed. And it's attack power, so I'll certainly take that. And there is a Valkyrie on the top as we get another level up as well. Getting loads of upgrades here. Sprite boost, I've only got 1 sprite. Let's get the charged arrow. You don't usually go for that. I would usually get the sprite upgrade, but as I've only got 1 sprite, it just seems a little wasteful perhaps, so we'll see what that does. But let's get the super circle here for powerful non-elemental circling orbs. So even though we've only actually got 2 orb upgrades, or 2 circle upgrades, that's given us 6 orbs. We've got 4 from that one and 2 from the one before. We've got absolutely loads of these orbs now, so it will be actually really interesting to see if they do manage to overtake. I think they'll definitely overtake my sprites in terms of attack, in terms of damage I should say, but will they overtake my own main arrows? That will be really interesting to see. Another angel on the way down here. Yeah, my health is also obviously just going up, nearly at 12,000. In fact, this will take us now, nearly 13,000 now. As we get a level up, lightning sprite. I don't really like the meteors. I did the meteor build on one of my previous videos. Not very good is the outcome of that. So let's just get the lightning sprite here. 3 sprites, not too bad. Not really having to move. I think it'll take a big wave incoming for us to actually move, or maybe just a few projectiles, but overall I think we're flying through this. Here's the big wave. Let's see what we can do. I think the orbs just really help you when there are a lot of enemies, as the pace is just unlimited here. Underworld Warrior or Cloud Footed. Don't really feel I need Cloud Footed. Let's just get the devil, just because it increases our attack with 2 green arrows. And I think that's probably just going to be most beneficial to kill them as quickly as we can. Next level up, wow. Venom Sprite, Flame Sprite, Ice Sprite. Got the spray, but let's get the Venom Sprite just because we have that poison as a separate upgrade. So hopefully that Venom Sprite will poison more of the enemies along with my own main attack. Everything will be poisoned and that will be dealing the damage. Yeah, it just seems like an absolute race to try and kill the enemies as quickly as we can for each of the weapon. We'll get the attack speed up there as well. I think the projectile bounce actually has become really handy. I thought it would just be an okay upgrade, but it does seem to be working really well. I think that's just because I am firing 4 arrows every single shot, so it's giving them a really good chance to be able to bounce from the wall. That and the pierce that I have as an upgrade. So it's not just disappearing when they hit an enemy, it's going through the enemies and likely bouncing off a wall and hopefully hitting others. So I think that'll do quite a lot of damage. But here we go, final boss incoming. Oh, I don't know if I've seen this one before. It looks quite menacing, to be fair, and he's done a bit of damage to me already, but thankfully I am doing quite a lot of damage to him. So let's see what we can do. As he is nearly dead, I can't even see what he looks like, to be fair. Looks like a purple little Megatron. But let's have a look now at both the rewards and what our damage is. Damage count. There we go. Wow, that's crazy. The circle actually did the most damage in the end. That is absolutely mental. And the very first circle I got, I think, was around 3 minutes, 10 seconds. So over halfway through, and they still managed to do the most. Interestingly as well, the sprites did more damage than my main weapon. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it would be relatively close, but I did think the main weapon would just pip them at the post. But they obviously wasn't as strong as what I expected. So really interesting that sprites were in second place there. But yeah, I think the big takeaway is just how powerful the orbs and the circles are there. Pretty much a third of the damage, and as I say, only got them right towards the end, or at least the second half of the game. But there we go, that is chapter 10 complete as we progress our way through the game. Any tips or advice, please do leave them in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Yo, it's the gaming Beatle crawling on the scene. Joystick dreams keep my gameplay clean. Archero the game, arrows flying supreme. Dodging through the levels like I'm living in a meme. Click subscribe, let the vibes take hold. Hit that button, make the story unfold. Thanks for watching, now the secrets are told. Gaming Beatle buzzing, yeah, the legend is gold.